Well, welcome to today's show, folks. We're out here in a secret spot of mine I've had my eye on for quite a while. And today's the day. I've been looking at this culvert. Now, if you haven't heard about it before, well, this is the first time you see it. It's something new. These culverts around, and especially in the gold country where you got gold, if you look at this, you see it's corrugated. It's got these ribs in it. And a lot of times if you look at some of the poop tubes and concentrating equipment, they'll look a lot just like this. This works as almost a giant sluice box that's set down in here in this little gully or wash area. And I've been waiting for about 4 years now. I've been eyeballing this spot, and I keep watching it for the right time. And the right time is now because it hasn't rained here in quite a long time. You need to, and that's what we're doing, is we're dry washing. It's tough to get in here with the sluice box and get this cleaned out while there's water running through it. And then when it gets wet down in here, you can't get a dry washer out here to use to get it out. But it's been dry in here for a long time, and you can see the materials filled up in here. Now, some guys, what I've seen some old timers and stuff do is they'll just put their sluice box right down in a creek and let the water flow through there for all season long. When the season ends, they'll go and get their sluice box because material's constantly flowing through there. Now, if you look at this culvert, this material out of this gully's washing, and it's funneling all down, and it's washing through here. Now, there's material that's been built up in here, and we're going to do really two things. We're going to dig this out so we get some of this stuff dug out and let the culvert do its job a little bit better with the water flow down here. Eventually this would fill up, and we wouldn't want that to happen because that's what flood time starts hitting, and then it'll boil over here and cause problems. But a metal detector in here wouldn't work, because that's why we don't have a metal detector out here today. It'd just go all crazy on this thing. And this is a pretty dang long culvert. It goes way back up in there, and it's quite a ways. There's quite a bit of bunch of material in there. Now, I don't know, what's underneath here. There may be some gold, or may not be some gold, but I suspicion there should be some gold, because this is a gold-bearing creek. I've done pretty good dry washing in here before, closer to the surface, and I've also done some real good sluicing here, and so I suspicion that this here hasn't been cleaned out in a while, so we're going to work on it. Now, I'm going to take off a lot of this top stuff, because most of this stuff is just kind of your loose sand, and there ain't, chances are, you might on a crazy whim find a piece of gold in it, but odds are you ain't going to have anything in this top sand stuff. So what I do is I just shovel this stuff off out of the way and get right down to the bottom part and work it. Now, this should be where the goodly amount of gold, right here where it starts, and then back away is probably about 5 feet. Most of the time in your sluice box, you'll find your good gold right up towards the front of it, and then less as you go back in it. So that's what we're kind of hoping for out here today. I'm going to shovel that stuff off. I want to show you what I'm using. This is a little dry washer. This is a gem of a piece of equipment. I just love this baby. Home-built dry washer. It's a one-of-a-kind. And you've got a little hopper up here and a valve that kind of opens up so you can feed your material in there, and a bellows, and that bellows just blows air, and it's hand operated. You got no gasoline to haul out here, and the only thing you got is your arm to pump this material. Now, what this is doing for some of you first timers is it's blowing air up into my screen here. I've got a series of riffles. That air blows the light stuff up and carries it off. The heavy stuff, which gold is heavy, gets stuck down in here in behind my riffles, and I'll just work that stuff off and feed a little bit more material into the top part of it here, and then just keep working. I'll show you how that bellows works underneath there so you get a little better idea about that. And when it comes cleanup time today, we'll just clean this up. See, this has got the bellows. It just opens up and blows that material right up out of there. And, oh, I'm getting dirt down in my bellows. I don't want to do that. But it works pretty dang slick. just put my sluice back in there. Now, I'll show you something else that's a real nifty thing about this dry washer, is I've got a series of different sluices that I can put in there, riffle trays. Now this one here, see these holes, this is where the air comes up through. This one's got bigger holes than this one, and it's also got bigger riffles. When you start running into finer and finer gold, you start getting these finer riffles. That enables to blow the light stuff up a little bit higher over the top of the riffles and trap a little bit more of your finer gold. You run less air that way because you're getting right down to the nitty-gritty. And then even more, smaller holes and less air, and then even smaller little traps for running your finer material. When I get down to running the good stuff, the fine stuff, after I run it through, sometimes I'll save that stuff and I'll run it through a second time with one of these smaller riffle trays. It's a little neat little jobber. You can haul it out anywhere. I've got some water out here. When we do our final cleanup, we'll be pouring that out using our water and our gold pans. And so that's what I'm using there for equipment. So I'm just going to continue shoveling this stuff out. Now, a lot of times you need to have gold in an area in order to get gold inside your culvert. But I know some guys in different places that have worked these culverts out and had some bonanzas. I worked a culvert out one time up on Arctic Creek up there in Alaska, and you wouldn't believe the gold that was back in there. And I ain't going to tell you how much gold we took out because I know you wouldn't believe it. But it was real good. And after doing that once or twice, then these culverts become more meaningful. But it's been, about 4 years I've been eyeing this baby, and today's the day. Now this is just flow sand that's on the surface. What we want to do is we want to get down to the bottom side, right down in the riffles, and high grade this material out. So that's why I'm not even working this stuff. We'll just shovel this out. So we'll be shoveling this out. We're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, we'll start running some of this high grade stuff down there in the bottom, and we'll see what's inside this culvert. Well, welcome back, folks. This is a lot of digging down in here. Now I run into some interesting things. There's a piece of hematite, looks like. Pretty interesting rock. But what happened to me is that I figured 4 years it'd be dry enough out here. And we hadn't had any rain in this particular area for, I think it's been about 6 months, maybe a few drizzles here and there, but it's still kind of wet. I still got some wet spots in here. But after I got down, now this is a tip for you guys out there, dry washings in the deserts and stuff. Sometimes it may be dry on the surface, you dig down a little ways, and all of a sudden it starts getting moist and a little bit too wet to be able to run through a dry washer, and you don't have any water to run it through a sluice, so you're kind of out of luck on running it. But what happened to me here is I thought, oh no, this is going to be wet. But as I went down through it again, I broke down underneath that wet layer, and it's dry as a bone down on the bottom. It hasn't had anything moving through there in quite a few years. And I suspicion this culvert's been here for 30 years or so. It's been sitting here quite a while and had this material running through it for all that time, and it's filled up in here. And I know nobody's cleaned it out in the last 6 years. And again, what happens, you know, this just acts like a big old sluice box, and this material running through it. And on the bottom side, down here in the bottom, you got these same riffles, and that material's running over it, and it traps the gold right inside those riffles. So this is like a giant sluice box, and we're kind of high grading it out. I've seen some places where they've done hydraulicing, where they used high pressure hoses to bring down the hang walls on the sides of mountains and then funnel it down into a sluice, a giant sluice box and then they funnel all the material down and then it runs through there. We've come across a few places like that where the old timers quit their hydraulicing because that wasn't environmentally sound, and today anytime you see anybody showing you any type of hydraulic mine, and they're lying to you, because it's been outlawed for a good 40 years now. There hasn't been anybody hydraulicing. It just wasn't a real environmentally sound way to mine. And it wasn't a very thorough way to mine. I know a lot of places where they did that same type of hydraulic in Georgia and Alabama, and you can go into their tailing piles and stuff where they hydraulic through there, and you can get more gold than they got out of their sluice boxes. But a lot of times you can find those old sluice boxes out there that have been running that same material and clean them babies up, and it's just like having a bonanza. It's like cleaning up a brand new sluice box, and we're hoping to get down to some gold down here in the bottom. So I'm right down on the bottom, scraping up these last little riffles right here. I'm still throwing some of this stuff that I don't like, that I get up off the top here, out, and then the stuff that I like, the good stuff, let me get right down in the bottom, get me some of that good stuff, and then I'll go in and I set this stuff. And something else you could do too, if your material's a little wet, you could set it out here in the sun, especially this hot desert sun. It'll dry it out in a jiffy for you. I'm gonna get down in here and scrape up right down on the bottom and get this good material right off the bottom, back down in here. Well, I tell you, this is some good work. I ain't need to go to the gym today, do any of them weightlifting. You come out here and work one of these #2 shovels, and I tell you, it works your back and your arms, and your legs get to work, and you get a cardiovascular workout too. So I'll just dig up the rest of this stuff. I'm getting pretty anxious to run some of this stuff to see. Oh boy, this goes way back up in there. I can't even see the end of it. I hope there ain't no critters back up in there ready to make a run for it and come out here at me. Or any rattlesnakes. Rattlesnakes like to get back up underneath there because it's warm back in there. It gets nice and warm in there. It makes a nice place for them to go and hide, especially ain't been no water flowing through there in a while. So this is back over here, pumping away on my dry washer. You just sit here for long periods of time, running that air up. The reason why I like this one is because I've got this feed right here, my little feed thing, and I can control my amount of feed. Now, the reason why I do that is I don't want to run too much material at one time. Now, what they call that is called booming and busting in your box. If you dump a whole bunch of material in here, it overloads this little sluice box, and if I was to shovel straight in here, I couldn't run enough of it. Now, I want to run as much material as I can because I want to get as much gold. Main name of the game, a lot of people ask me, that's a real question, is, you know, am I running too much material through my sluice box, or am I not running enough? Beginners, most of the time the tendency of guys who first starting out is they run too much material because they want to maximize their amount of gold. Well, if you start running too much material and that material's going out, you're just shooting your gold right out over the top of these riffles, and you ain't saving your gold, so you ain't getting as much as if you would be running less material. Now, by running too less of material, it's pretty obvious that you ain't going to get as much gold as you would if you were running more material. So there's kind of a happy medium there that a guy has to get into. And that just takes practice and being out there and doing it. A good rule of thumb on that is, you see these little riffles right in here? If these are covered over and I can't see those riffles, then I've got too much material. If I see it and I've got just, you know, riffles galore, I run this stuff off and all of a sudden I got tons of riffles on there, then I'm not running enough material. Now, you might look at me and say, hey Tom, man, you know, you could get something, a wheel or a battery or something to haul out here to do that for you. Yeah, I could, but that takes kind of some of the fun out of it. You know, I like it out here without having any motors or having to haul a battery around. It's real nice and quiet and peaceful, and you just great place to be out here. I'm gonna start dumping some more of my good stuff, good material here. This is right out of the bottom. Now, as you can see in here, you got black sand. This stuff is just loaded with black sand. I can see the black sand all through this stuff. I can see the black sand here on my box. Sometimes I get some pieces that are a little bit bigger. This also acts as a classifier here. I won't get anything too big through my dry washer, because if you get stuff that's too big in there, then it'll carry your gold out with it. So works as a classifier too. Now, when you're running a dry washer, you need to clean up a little bit more than when you're running a sluice box. Usually, a lot of people have questions about when to clean up. Well, that all depends on how much gold you're getting. If all of a sudden you start seeing gold in here and nuggets and stuff, then you want to clean up. But if you're cleaning up, after about a half-hour run, and you don't have anything in there, you know, you've just got a few small little specks of gold, then you don't want to clean up that much, and probably you'll want to move on to another spot. But if you get, you know, a pennyweight or so of gold, then you'll probably want to clean up every half hour. If it's less than that and you still want to keep working, then you can clean up every hour. But you need to clean up quite frequently on these dry washers. A lot more than you do with a sluice box. That's a mistake a lot of people make with their running wet with sluice boxes and stuff, is they clean up too often. But I don't think you can really spend too much time cleaning up one of these dry washers. What I like to do a lot of times is I'll take my gold pan. I got my flashlight with me too, in case I needed to take a look up in there. But I don't think I'll be crawling up in there. Might be going a little farther. I'll take my gold pan, and it's a pretty little simple thing. I'll cut my feed off here so I ain't got no more material going in. Run that up, and see, this what's dandy about this little gem of a dry washer is it's so simple. You just take this out, you take it over, and you drop that off in your gold pan. Should go against those riffles. You put it right back in. Put it right back in there. Real simple. It doesn't take too long to drop that out. Tighten her back down. Ain't spend a whole lot of time. Fire it right back up, and we're running again. See there, now a little bit too much material in there. Get started, running again. Now, you say, well, you can't run a whole lot of material. No, you can't run a whole lot of material, but it's better than panning. And it's, you know, if you ain't got no water out here, when it's dry like this, you gotta do what you gotta do. Get that gold. And see how that just dances up there? It's just dancing right up. Stuff just dances along right off over the top of the sluice box. Getting some bigger rocks through there. Sometimes if you get some of those larger size rocks, you know, you can pick those out because you don't want some of those in there, like these bigger rocks. Sometimes what you do is you screen those babies off. But I just keep working it along. Get a little bit more in. Don't cost nothing. Pretty easy to run. Take a rocket scientist to run one. Just gotta watch your feed and control your feed. Find you a good spot to run one. I've had a lot of fun out here. It gets you in the outdoors, get you some fresh air and some fun. Pick some of them larger rocks up. Woo! Look at that, folks. We got some gold in this stuff. And there's another little piece in there. We're in the gold. Look at that. I want to get that on film. I got some gold in this stuff. There's gold in this culvert. I thought so. I found good gold in this creek. You take a look at that. Now see, that piece of gold right there is the first time anybody's ever seen it. First seen the light of day. Now when you find a piece that big, that means there's a lot more. Whenever you find big gold like that, you got fine flower gold like Johnny B. Good. And you got other pieces in here. I just know from experience there's more gold in here. So I'm going to start cleaning up a little bit more sooner. And matter of fact, I think I'll dump this out and clean up this box. I know there's got to be some more pieces in here. I'll look through this stuff. A lot of times it's real hard to see it. The only time you ever see it is when you get these big pieces, especially when you're dry washing, because when it's wet, it washes a little bit better and you can see it. But see how it's kind of got a dingy look to it? It's still got that gold luster, but it's, you know, it sits in there and it gets kind of the coloration of the dirt that's around it. But there's gold down in that culvert. Well, we're going to be working a lot more in this culvert. A lot more. Boy, I sure hope it don't rain on me. Well, I'm going to clean this up. I got that nice piece of gold. I'm going to put that over here in my gold pan. I'll get my snuffer bottle out here in a little bit. Man, oh man, that is something. Find some good gold out here, shooting a show at the same time. Oh man, well, I knew it. I tell you, anytime anybody ever comes and tells you all the gold's been found out there, there ain't no more gold out there, you're just crazy for going out there and looking for it, you just let them believe that. For me and you, buddy, we're going to be getting that stuff. Oh man, we'll run some more of this. I'm just going to keep running some more, and what I'll do, I'll show you. I got my water jug over here, and I'll take my water jug, and I got my tub. When I get done running my material out of my tub, I'll take and I'll pan this out in my tub, and then I'll use my snuffer bottle and clean it up. But I'm going to run some more of this stuff. I'm going to run all the material through my tub, and we'll get this pan here. Oh, I'll run it till it's about that full before I'll clean it up. Sometimes I'll even dump it off in something else. I'm running a lot of material because I'll want to work. I only clean up once during the end of the day when I start running my water, because I only got so much water out here to work with. But boy, that is nice. That is nice, huh, folks? One, and where there's one, there's more. There's more. I guarantee you there's more. There's more down there in that culvert. This is a hot spot, folks. When you find these, you know, check out these culverts around. And when you got one where there's gold in a stream and you got it running through there and you got material that's packed up in there like this, chances are it's working like a sluice box, and you can high grade these culverts like crazy. There it is, folks. We're going to take a commercial break. I'm going to run some more material. We come back, I'm going to clean this stuff up here, and we'll see what we got here in our concentrates, and just having a dandy of a day out here. I'll let the last of the material run through here. Just about got it. Now I'm really got my eyes eagle-eyed in there, looking for more nuggets. Now sometimes, see this little piece of quartz? Once in a while, I always keep my eye on these little pieces of quartz, because you'll find a piece of quartz like this that'll have a little piece of gold stuck to it, because gold and quartz will be shot into the rock at the same time. And you can have a little piece of remnant quartz that's floating around with gold stuck on it, but it'll get out of your dry washer because the quartz is light and there's not enough gold carrying in that piece of quartz to make it stay inside your sluice box. That one there ain't got none on it, but I always keep an eye out for those. And you know, you say, well, that's pretty hard to do, Tom, but after you spot a couple, I've spotted about 4 or 5 of those in my time. And those are real nice when you do. And after doing that once or twice, you'll keep your eye open for them, I guarantee you. All right. Close up here. Dump out my final tray. And my gold pan. Man, this is nice out here. I got my Buzzard Special. I've got some water I hauled out here too. the pan width of my little tub. Now, a lot of people ask me where you get these tubs. A lot of these tubs are just masonry tubs and stuff. They work real good for panning in. Oh, water in the desert. Sure a nice place to be this time of year. All nice and dry. Now, I ain't gonna pour all this in there. I want to save this a little bit back. Aha. Whew! Gets hot out here. That's nice. A little bath before you start your panning. Now what I'll do is I'll pan this stuff out in there. I'll give you a little panning instruction too. You drop your gold pan down, but it's a little different when you're panning concentrates, you know. You want to mix all that material up. Make sure you got it down on the bottom. Now I got our other nugget we picked out earlier over here in my safety pan, but since I'm panning in a tub today, I don't need to really use my safety pan because I'm going to save all this material. Now, you don't have a lot of space in here, so it kind of gets, you got to get your own technique, but main thing in panning is to get that material aerated, get it liquefied, and get it moving around in the pan so that the heavy particles, which is gold is 19 times heavier than water and twice as heavy as lead. That's pretty heavy. Lead's real heavy. If you ever had a lead bar in your hand, so a lot of times on them movies and TV shows, when you see them guys tossing them big saddle bags full of gold and big bags full of gold and gold bars around like they're nothing, that's phony, man, because that gold's heavy. You get a lot of that gold in your hand and you'll know that it's real heavy. So it works its way down to the bottom of your pan, and then you slowly use these riffles right here. This is the same gold pan you get when you join that special, when you get a member of the Gold Prospectors Association. And these are the latest state-of-the-art gold pans. You know, you see a lot of the metal pans. People say, well, you know, they always say, well, you ain't a real prospector using one of them plastic pans, you know. But I tell you what, if you look at the guys who win panning championships and you look at the real professionals out there doing it, they're all using these kind of pans. I'm not saying nothing bad about those old metal pans. There's some things, applications that those old metal pans work real good in. But these kind of pans with these traps in here, lightweight, and with the wide bottom and the steep angles on the sides, they work real good, folks. This is the best pan out there for the beginner, and all the experts use them too. They got these deeper riffles in there. The GPAA developed this pan, and you know, they've had lots of prospectors telling them different ways, and they've taken all the pans and everything that's been made out there before and developed them into this one particular pan, and this is just the pan to get, folks. It works real well. So I'll just keep working that material on down, and then I'll let the water. Now, problem that a lot of people do when they first start panning is they dig around in here when they got this much material. You need to pan it on down. Don't be afraid to work. You know, they get scared they're going to lose some gold out, but you're not going to see it until you get it down. Work it on down. Now, aha! I'm seeing some color show up in the sides. Now, I know when you pull out a nugget like that, you're going to have gold in your concentrates. It just has to be. And there's a lot more material down in the bottom of that culvert over there. And there's a piece of something. It looks like a piece of jasper. Little heavy rock. I think I'll save that too. You find other things when you're out there prospecting. I've been kind of coughing. I got a little bit of a cold here I'm getting over, but it's nice to be out here in the warm desert to get over the cold. Now you start seeing that black sand showing up, and holy bolies, we got some more nice nuggets. I'll work that on down. I want to make sure you see that. Now what I'll do is I'll pull back and I'll do what we call our fanning and tailing action. I'll pull back, and you see that? Look at that. Look at that gold in there. Oh man, isn't that pretty? Isn't that pretty? Well, there's, oh, I'd say $400, $300 worth of gold, somewhere in that range. And that's a nice, that looks, oh, that is one piece. That's another nice nugget. That would make a nice pennant nugget. Now, you look at this and you think, oh, gold, $400 an ounce. And you figure that there's, oh, probably a half ounce of gold in here. Maybe that's about $250 worth as far as bullion weight it goes, yeah, but this is jewelry quality stuff. This kind of gold's worth more than $400 an ounce. This is worth $800 to $1,000 an ounce because you can make jewelry out of it. That right there might be a little bit big for an earring, but it would surely make a nice little pendant for somebody, maybe for my daughter, one of those daughters. I got 2 of them here. I'll need 1 more, and I'll cover the rest. This one probably here go big enough, and I'll have enough for a pendant for each one of my daughters. And you can see all this fine gold in here. You take a look and you see whenever you find big nuggets like this, a lot of times you'll find this fine flour gold, and there's quite a bit of it. You can see some of the bigger pieces, but there's all these little specks out here. Now this is the kind of gold you can find every time you go out. Now, granted, you're not going to find nuggets out there every time, but you find one of these culverts that's hot like this. Now, I know from the amount of material I dug out of there and the amount of material I got left to go, I'm going to have me a real good couple of days here digging and dry washing this culvert out. I might even go and get me a bigger dry washer because this is really paying off. Now, that's something you can do after you find and get into some real good gold with one of these little boogers. You can get yourself a bigger one, and I've got some bigger dry washers at my disposal. You see this black sand here that's coming out and all that fine flour gold. This baby's trapping it. This is working real good for trapping the gold. It's getting this small stuff. And man, you can't beat that, folks. This is a real fun recreation, ladies and gentlemen. And I've been saving this culvert. I know there's good gold in this creek, and I've been eyeballing this baby for quite a while. And I was pretty sure that I wasn't expecting to get quite that much, but I was expecting to get some pretty good gold out of this culvert because I've been eyeballing it for quite a long time, and I'm pretty happy about that. I got one of our buzzard specials here. I want to tell you some about the club before we run out of time on today's show. But man, I just can't tell you how it warms the cockles of your heart to find some beautiful gold like that and some nice nuggets. And you know, a lot of people, if you go out there, I tell you, if you get a hold of the GPAA and get signed up to their special, and it's $67.50. I know it's a good chunk of change, but it's something that'll get you started in prospecting. That's the main thing, is get started thinking about this. You know, and I'm sure there's going to be skeptics out there that scoff at it and say, oh, I don't want to go do that. Oh, that's just a bunch of farce and everything. But the GPA's been around since 1968, and it's been growing every year, and we got about 100,000 members. And we get people coming back all the time. And you know, if everybody was going out there wouldn't finding any gold, then we wouldn't be around that long. And we set up this special so that you've got a real good chance, your best chance of finding some gold. When you go out there and you get out there and you find some gold like this, I guarantee you're going to be a member for life. And I've paid for my membership out here 3-fold time with just the gold I've gotten on this one little outing. And it don't take too long, you know, getting out there and finding some gold to make it pay. And it's fun because you can have a recreation, go out here and have a good time and make some money on top of it. And this is real money, folks. This ain't that folding stuff that burns and you know, is just backed by nothing but paper. This is real money. This is real good gold. And I tell you, and let me tell you something about the special. I got one here. They send it out to you. Priority mail comes to you in a box just like this one. I haven't really opened this one up. And when you get it, you get a lot of neat stuff in there. And like I said before, what they're trying to do is give you a good chance of going out there and getting some gold. Now, something I got missing out of this that I ain't got with me is the mining guide. So I'm going to have to show you that. But you get a hat, you know, and you get the snuffer bottle, and you get a subscription to the magazine, and the pick and shovel comes in there. There's all kinds of other literature in there, and on all kinds of stuff. There's a video on panning for gold if you're not too sure about your panning. It's got my dad on there, the old buzzard, showing you his old tricks and tips, you know. If you didn't have an old timer or somebody who's been out there through the school of hard knocks to learn this kind of prospecting, to learn this stuff from, then you just didn't figure it out. You had to spend a lot of years out there digging in just the gravel bank and finding no gold to finally start getting into some gold. But a lot of the information that's been spread out there that GPA has, it's made it a lot easier to get the gold, because you can eliminate a lot of places where there ain't no gold and concentrate on those places where there is gold. You get one of these snuffer bottles that comes to you in the kit, which is real nice, and I'll just put this one together and use it on my gold pan here, show you how that works. And there's a lot of tricks, just like the one I'm going to show you right here. Once you get involved in the association, they show you all this stuff and make it so much more easier to get that gold out. And so, you know, you join up your first year, you go out, you use some of the claims. They got a claims guide book. I don't have one here with me, but they got a claims guide book. It's got hundreds of different places to go prospecting and maps in there, and you can go out there anytime you want. You know, the problem of where to go. You know, I'd like to get involved, but I ain't got no place to go. Well, they got hundreds of different places where you can go prospecting and keep all the gold you find, and that's included in the 6750. Now, if you figure what is that worth to have hundreds of different places where you can go out and camp and prospect for gold and get out in beautiful countryside, that you can't put a price tag on that. You know, for $67.50, that's worth it just in itself right there. And you get one of these gold pans, and you get the hat and the decal and the subscription to the magazine. You also get invitations to outings and stuff, and I'm usually a lot of them outings. I'd love to sit down and break bread with you and BS around a campfire and talk about prospecting. No funner thing in the world. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to use these snuffer bottles. Now, you see that fine flour gold in there? These big nuggets, they ain't no problem. You can just pick them up with your hand. That's nice. But you don't always get those. But that small stuff, what you can do is you tap it up there to the edge. And you get it all up there to the edge. You put a squeeze on this snuffer bottle, and you just suck them nuggets right up, them little pieces right up. You suck them right up in there. You look like a little vacuum cleaner. And then you got them in your bottle, and you can save them. And that's real simple. A lot of times in the old days, you know, people starting out, they'd sit there and try and pick each one of them out of there with their finger and put it in their bottle and spend hours picking out what in a matter of seconds you can do with one of these snuffer bottles. It's just a lot of information. There's just tricks and tips like that just all over the place in the GPAA, and that's what it's all about. Get involved, give them a call on that 800 number and put it on your credit card. If you don't got a credit card, then you can mail them in a check to their address and get this special, because if you are a prospector, you've done it, and you're out there and you're a prospector yourself already, you need to get involved, because you know about all the other things that we need to band together as prospectors, and all the stuff that you get is just an added bonus. And if you've never prospected before in your life and you're watching this show thinking, wow, that looks neat, but $67.50 is a lot of money, you get a lot of stuff, folks. And they give you the knowledge that you need in the subscriptions to the magazine and the videos and the information service and everything. They also give you the basic tools that you need with the gold pan, and then they also give you a place to go out and do it. And all for $67.50. You just can't beat that, folks. So we'd love to have you a member. I can't stress to you how much fun it is to get out here and prospect for gold, and it's a lot more fun when you get a little bit of gold like this out here today. Oh boy, I'm just happy, tickled pink, and we sure enjoy having you out here with us on today's show, and we'll be back again with another show. So thanks for tuning in today, folks. I'm gonna be out here digging for quite a while in this culvert. I'd tell you where it's at, but I'll tell you where it's at in another show after I get done digging it out, so you guys aren't out here with me. So we'll see you later, folks. Take care.